Hi everybody, this is Jo, and what we're going to do today is just a quick tutorial on how to do a particular stitch which I've recently come to know, or come to use rather, is the herringbone double crochet. And it's a double crochet in the UK terms of a double crochet, which is a single crochet in the American terms, but it's a herringbone double crochet. And the reason that I've recently come to use it so much is I've just made this pattern for a traditional flat cap, so it's a bit like what you might see in Peaky Blinders, or if you're from the north of Britain you'd be very well acquainted with flat caps, but I've done it with the herringbone stitch to create the tweedy kind of wool woven effect of the pattern of the hat. And what we're going to do is a quick tutorial on how to do this stitch, but to do it so that it's all on one side, so there's a very definite wrong side and a very definite right side. Because the wool that I was using for the hat is quite dark and it's quite light weight yarn, it's hard to see with it what we're doing, so I thought I'd do a separate tutorial on how to do the herringbone stitch in a thicker wool. So I've got a super chunky wool with a size 10 lovely purple sparkly crochet hook. I mean, doesn't get better, does it? And then what we're going to do is just very quickly do a tutorial on how to do it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with doing chains. So I'm just going to do an ordinary slip knot. The nice thing is with the herringbone stitch, it doesn't need a set required number of stitches, a required number of stitches to start off with, number of chains, because it can work on any number, which is good. The thing that creates the pattern is that it's a 2-row repeat, so it goes over 2 rows of your work, so it doesn't matter how many stitches you've got. You could have hundreds or you could have 10, it doesn't matter, it's not the stitches, it's the rows, so you're working in repeating the same 2 rows over and over. So I'm just going to do some chains, which yarn over and through, yarn over and through, yarn over and through, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's just because it's just a demonstration of the stitch, so I'm not going to do loads and loads of chains. So normally we would work into the top loops here of the chains, going across the top there, but what we're going to do with this one is we're going to flip it over and we're going to work into these humps in the back because it gives a much neater edge. You can see them there, those humps in the middle, so from that side it looks like a plait. But from that side you can still see the ones around the edge, but you've also got these extra lumps in the middle here, there, and so on. And that's what we're going to be working into, and it, like I said, it gives a much neater finish. So we still skip the first one there, like we would normally do when we're working with a chain, and we're going to pop our hook under that first one. So it's just under the hook as normal, and then yarn over, back through 1 loop. So we've got 2 on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that gives us that first double crochet, so, or single crochet if you're in the States. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. That's better. So as you look at that last double crochet that we've just done, you can see the shape of it there, with the 2 legs of it coming down, one there and one there. And what we're going to do is, before we do the next stitch, the start of this stitch, we're going to put our hook under that left hand side of the 2 legs there. So we're going to pop our hook under that leg of the stitch there. So before we start we've got 2 hoops on our hook, okay? And then we're going to put our hook under the next hump of the chain, which is there. And we're going to go yarn over, back out of that chain. So we've got 3 hoops on the hook. And then yarn over through all 3 hoops on the hook, like that. And then you get this extra loop there. So you've got 1, 2, 3 loops, and from now on that's what we're going to be, where we're going to be putting our hook first, under that one there, and then into the next lump, yarn over, back out of that one, and then yarn over through all 3. So it's under that lump there, the first one of the 3 there, one furthest left, and then under the hump there, yarn over, back through 1, yarn over through all 3. So you can see where you're getting that diagonal shift in the shape of the stitch already, with the you see it leaning, so we're going to go under that leg there, and then into the next loop, hump, and then yarn over back through 1, so we've got 3 hoops on the hook, and then yarn over through all 3. 1 left, so under there, and then under the hump on the back of the chains, yarn over through 1, yarn over through all 3. And you can see now you've got that diagonal going across there to create the herringbone effect of the stitch. So this is row 1, and this is the right side. So this is the side that's going to be facing outwards that people are going to see. So whenever you're on this row, you always start with a plain double crochet or single crochet in that first stitch, then you work into its leg there, and then carry on working into those left hand legs of the stitches to get the slant on the stitch like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 chain, and we're going to turn our work around. This is where the stitch gets a bit trickier, and also why it's a bit slower than just doing an ordinary double crochet. And the reason is because normally you would work in front to back in the stitch, but with the herringbone double crochet you work back to front, making sure that your working tail of your yarn is to the front of the hook. So I tend to hold it like that so it's out of the way. So when you're going into your stitch, this working yarn is at the front rather than normally where it's at the back. We're working with it at the front here. So we're just going to go into the top of the next stitch, back to front, and we're just going to go yarn under and over. It's almost like you're wrapping it around itself. So I'll show you that again. So there we go. So it's under, back over the top, and then what you do is you just hold that under bit with your thumb, pull through like that, and then yarn over through 2. So in effect you're doing a double crochet backwards, because on that side it looks the same as the double crochet here, if you see. So now what we're going to do, if you look at the stitch on this side, you can see you've got that leg there, and that's where we're going to put a hook. So we're not working so much with this side facing us now, we're working with the other side facing us and our yarn, working yarn at the front. So it's like we're almost in a mirror double crochet rather than an ordinary one. So what we do is just flip it upside down so that you're looking at the right side of the work, and we're just going to pop our hook under that leg there. Let me wait for the camera to get into focus. There we go. So we're going to go under that leg there, and then we're going to go under the stitch there, under the next stitch there, and I've still got my working yarn towards the front. It's not at the back like it normally is. So when we're going, we're bringing our yarn under the hook so we can do our normal yarn over. Okay. So it's going under to come over, and then I'm going to hold the yarn under, if you like, there, so it's out of the way, because I don't want to bring that through the stitch with me. I just want to bring the yarn over, if that makes sense. So I've got 3 hoops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and through all 3. Like I said, this is why this stitch is a bit slower, because it's a lot more fiddly than a normal stitch. So if that's the side we're looking at, turn it over, and you can see now you've got 1, 2, 3 loops, just like we did when we were working on the first row. We're going to put our hook under the lowest one, or highest one, depending which way you want to look at it. My working yarn is at the front, and I'm going to pop my hook under the top of the next stitch, which is there, front back to front still, and then put your yarn under your hook and then over. Hold the yarn under and pull your hook through, like that. Then yarn over through all 3. Okay, so it looks a bit weird from the back, but from the front you can see it really taking shape now. So we've got under that leg there, and then under the top of the next stitch, back to front, and then we put the yarn under, then over, hold it out of the way and pull the hook through, then yarn over through all 3. So we turn it, 1, 2, 3, pop your hook under the third one, that, and then keep your working yarn at the front under the top of the next stitch, like that, bit of a tricky one, and then under the hook, over the hook, like that, hold that down out of the way, back through the top of the stitch, and then yarn over through all three. Okie doke, so back over to the front side, 1, 2, 3, so hook under that third one, and then under the top of the next stitch, which is there, working yarn still at the front, so under the hook, over the top, hold it down there, and then through. 3 hoops, yarn over, through all 3, and that's row 2 of your 2-row pattern. And we're just going to do a chain, and we're going to turn. So you can see now on row 1 you've got the slant of the stitches going that way, and then on row 2 you've got the slant of the stitches going this way, and it really creates this lovely lovely texture, a lovely pattern. It's really nice. So we'll do another row of each so that we know what we're doing. So always on this side we just do an ordinary double crochet. So I'm ignoring the chain, going into the next stitch as normal, yarn over, back out of the top of the stitch, yarn over through 2 for a normal double crochet. And then where you can see the 2 legs of the stitch there, we're going for the left hand of the legs under that one, and then into the top of the next stitch. So it looks like I've got 4 hoops on my hook, then yarn over, back out of the top of the stitch to have 3 hoops on my hook, and then yarn over, back through all 3. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 hoops, so the third hoop we want to go for under that one, and then into the top of the next stitch, yarn over, back out. Oops, just caught on something there. So we've got 3 hoops, yarn over, through all 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, under that one, and into the top of the next stitch, and then yarn over, 3 hoops, yarn over, through all 3. 1, 2, 3, under the third one, and then into the top of the next stitch, yarn over, back out of the top of the next stitch. Oh, there we go, it's fighting back, and then yarn over through all 3. 1, 2, 3, under the third leg there, and then under the top 2 of the next stitch, then yarn over, back out of the top of the next stitch, yarn over through all 3. So you can see that. Now we've got the slant going that way there, row 1, and then we've got the slant coming back this way for row 2, and then going that way for row 3. So like I said, it's just repeating that. So we're going to do 1 chain, and in this first stitch we're going to do just an ordinary double crochet, but remember that we're going, instead of going front to back under the top of the stitch, we're going back to front and keeping that working end of the wool out of the way, so it's at the front of the hook. So I'm just going to go back to front under the top of that stitch there, then under the hook, over, hold that yarn under out of the way because I don't want to bring that back through with me, that, then yarn over through both. Okay, and then you can see there you've got if we turn it over, we've got 1, 2, we want to put a hook under the second one, and then under the top of the next stitch from front back to front, like that, with the working tail still at the front. Then take the yarn under, over the top, under there, yarn over through all 3. So you turn your work, 1, 2, 3, under the third one, under the top of the next stitch, working yarn at the front, under the hook, over the top of the hook for the normal yarn over, back out through all 3. There we go, so we flip, 1, 2, 3, under there, under the top of the next stitch, working yarn at the front, so under the hook, yarn over, back out, yarn over, through all 3. Next one, 1, 2, 3, into the next stitch, under for yarn over, and then through all 3. Okay, last one on this row. There we go, under, yarn over, pull it through, and then through all 3. And that is the herringbone stitch to get it so that you've got that lovely slanting going in the different directions on each row. And also, I'll pop my hook out so you can see it a bit clearer. And also then you've got that lovely pattern coming through that really looks lovely when it's finished. The nice thing is that because of the rows going in the different directions, it is quite easy to count the rows, which is nice. So that's your herringbone double crochet, so that you've got that slanting pattern on the right side. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and if you do, give us a like, make a comment, subscribe, that would be awesome. Thanks a lot, bye.